can rule together.
You would make me a tyrant.
It's time to let old things die.
I will never be at your side.
Force push on the wrong franchise. Let's say J.J. Abrams is Palpatine. J.T. Payne and Patrick McKay, the showrunners of the 8 filler episodes of Rings of Power, are Abrams' Padawans of evil. But they are not noteworthy as students. Before Amazon's show, they had nothing to prove themselves. Their experiences were shady at best, but they had the of a strong name backing them up, and they did what modern Hollywood does best. They abandoned the work they were supposed to adapt in favor of their lackluster creativity and modern storytelling, because Hollywood thinks they are better than everyone else. Elegance, applause, praise, travels, expensive battle, women, and an absurd amount of money. These temptations can easily corrupt the mind of a Sith. Hollywood is one massive empire, and all of its pieces must play part, so different producers and productions share similar threats, characters, themes, and storytelling mechanics. Their live-action CGI festivals are the highest form of art, entertainment, and education, and it is here to change the world with the values of the future. We didn't even play the games, said Paramount. We're doing our own take of Cowboy Bebop, said Netflix. We didn't listen to George Lucas's ideas, said Disney. We're writing the story Tolkien never wrote, and we're making it reflect the modern world, said Amazon. And we're not even considering fan feedback for season 2. Fans don't matter, and neither does Tolkien, as long as they remain proud and say the right things.
Social advancement.
Racist. A woman. Best thing Marvel have done.
Here, in the land of the Sith, people fail upwards. Bad Robot is the infamous production company behind the Star Trek trilogy reboot, Star Wars The Force Awakens, and The Rise of Skywalker.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
All of these movies ended the cinematic history of these massive IPs. J.J. Abrams and Kathy McGrath founded the studio in 1999. They found some success, like the latest Mission Impossible trilogy. This Swedish dance duo were not part of their best projects. They worked on Bad Robot as scriptwriters for over 20 years. Their resume consists of a Star Trek Beyond, the final blow of the deceased saga, nothing else.
Cheers.
None of their ideas came to light, like the movie script adaptation of Boilerplate, History's Mechanical Marvel, a graphic novel. By the end of their career, they decided to test their luck on TV. A recommendation by J.J. Abrams landed them the most expensive gig in television history. So, old but without significant experience, the evil Padawans began the task of creating the story Tolkien never wrote, even though he did, and it's in the Silmarillion. But they think they are better, as Hollywood always does. Better than previously tested material, timeless work, decades-old fandom, and a writer that shaped the medieval fantasy genre. And what could they do?
I don't know what I'm doing!
What tools could they use to transform appendices into a show? They used what they learned from their master. To make everything explode and everything a mystery. It took Frodo and Sam 3 movies and 3 books to travel from the Shire to Mordor, because the original material is a high medieval fantasy, a genre with 3 core elements. The first element is honor. Characters live and die by their word. The second element is distance. The obstacles, lessons, and growth happen during the journey. The third element is heroism and a clear-cut good versus evil battle. A new Middle-earth features sympathetic villains, selfish heroes, oath breakers, and hyperdrive teleportation. Tolkien started his story by drawing a map. But why are you even using one?
We rode without rest.
The evil Padawans changed the high medieval fantasy for mysteries and conspiracies.
What are stories but mystery boxes? There's a fundamental question. In TV, the first act is called the teaser. It's literally the teaser. It's the big question. So you're drawn into it. Then, of course, there's another question, and it goes on and on.
The showrunners abandoned sense and storytelling in favor of hiding answers, and they created questions by making characters oblivious and erratic. For example, 3 nameless things pursue the stranger for several episodes, because they believe he's Sauron. But they just made a mistake, and that's it.
What?
All flash and no mysticism. Star Wars started as a heroic space opera adventure, where the Force was a subtle magic system. It was a power of the spirit, the result of faith, training, and discipline. And it had a will of its own. Spirit and faith became less of a concern in the 90s. Phantom Menace debuted in 1999.
I need a midichlorian count.
and transform the Force into a group of microorganisms in your cells. Mysticism became science, and alongside the progress of technology in movie making, the nuanced action became flashy, but also more fun. And then came Palpatine, the franchise breaker. The Force regained the will of its own, but lost discipline, faith, and subtlety. Faith and spirit are gone from Rings of Power as well. Paradise is a place of bullying, subtle magic became light beams and telekinesis, and creation became science. They merge alloys, shape circular things to be more effective, and use complex thermodynamics. It's a something reactors. I feel familiar.
We think hitting the cannons might ignite the main reactor.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Meanwhile, mentions of faith, hope, valor, Valinor, and the Dark Lord lack context, meaning, and spirit, because Tolkien's lore is not the priority. And this is a problem. Amazon used the Lord of the Rings on the show's title, and fans expected to see at least an adaptation of the same genre as the original material. The showrunners have the appendices of the main book trilogy, which has more than you imagine. Timelines, short stories, events, kings, races, family trees and more. But Amazon barely used the source. They did whatever they wanted to do and went as far as adding hobbits, wizards, balrogs and magic Silmarillion rocks into the Second Age. At the same time, they used events and names only book readers would know. For a casual fan, this would mean nothing.
Fuck is you talking about?
The most blatant change is Sauron. The mystery box revealed itself before completing the 9 rings for men and the 7 rings for the dwarves. He barely had any real development, and also Celebrimbor forged the 3 elven rings alone after Sauron's deceit. The new Sauron is hormonal and emotional, rather than cunning and manipulative. He can handle rejection.
I want you to join me.
Please don't go this way.
You're still holding on!
He's an angry dictator, a Kylo Ren, an anti-hero rendition that could only come from writers who learned from Kylo Ren's creator. A Tolkien for modern audiences featuring the storytelling of the future, allegories of racism, trans identities,
I'm a trans elf.
and homosexuality,
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
unexplained skin tone variations, women in places of power, brave, stoic and heroic, manly female warriors with no wisdom, empathy or grace. Useless or evil white man. Sauron's twist was as evident as identifying the only competent and heterosexual white man in the story, and heroes without an objective moral compass, willing to do evil in order to achieve their goals.
Your throat.
And if you're a person of color, here's an elf of color. Now you can finally enjoy the franchise. He's not the main character though, he's another Finn following the true hero, a white lady falling in love with the villain.
I can change him.
Hollywood is a realm of pride and empty morals, but because Tolkien's work is timeless rather than flashy, I can find wisdom for the showrunners and the Tolkien state in his decades-old pages. At the height of its glory under King Ar-Pharazôn, Numenor made Sauron surrender, and I read, then Ar-Pharazôn, in the folly of his pride, carried him back as a prisoner to Numenor. It was not long before he had bewitched the king and was master of his council. Soon he had turned the hearts of all the Numenorians, except the remnant of the faithful, back towards the darkness. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And just like Middle-earth god Eru Ilúvatar sank Numenor into the sea for the punishment of their pride, we're going to sink your show into oblivion. You need paying customers to continue. That's it, friends. Join the conversation, subscribe, and keep the comment section
civilized. As filmmakers, as writers, we had no interest whatsoever in putting our junk, our baggage into these movies. We just thought we should take what Tolkien cared about clearly, we should take those and we should put them into the film.